Hi, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I am a addiction recovery coach, a life coach, and the host of this show, the Take Your Life Back Today show. I am finally back from my 1 month taken off to finish my book, and it is now complete. Yesterday, we spoke about being positive on one of my shows, and I don't mean to say yes, it actually was last video I did. The negative thing is just as effective here. And if you want to be emotionally free, there is only one thing you need to understand, my friends. Whatever problem you think you have right now is not the actual problem. The problem is that you do not know how to think about your problem correctly. My friends, it's 2018. We're on the internet. You're sick of the platitudes, but this isn't really something that you can afford to ignore. This isn't just advice that may perhaps be applicable to some people, sometimes, in certain situations. It's just not that kind of notion that you can soothe you on a hard day. It's just not something you can lean on when you've exhausted all other options. The point of experiencing anything is learning how to think about differently. When you do not do the work of learning to think differently, you become stuck. The more you think the negative things, the worse the situation will become. Folks, please think about this. Considering possibilities that were previously inconceivable are realistic now. Real education is not learning what to think about, but how to think in general. Learning how to better ignore negative thoughts is not learning how to think. It's learning how to disassociate our negative thoughts and form us of much as positive ones as negative ones. Rather than becoming afraid, we can learn to see them as directives, or at very least, if we can be discerning about what we describe, that is the most important way to communicate with other people. Therein, there's the power of negative thinking. As the Stoics practice negative visualization, imagining the worst possible outcomes and then preparing for them, learning how to think is the simple art of recognizing that you choose how you apply meaning and emotion to your life. And if you don't consciously decide what matters and what doesn't, you'll spend the rest of your life in feeling patterns, responding to what you were conditioned by when you were young. The solution is, my friends, not a hyper-focus on positivity as mainstream pop psyche would have you believe, but learning how to turn the shadow aspects of your mind into forces that ignite change and inspire growth. Emotional freedom and inner peace is knowing what to do when those negative thoughts and feelings arise, because believe me, they will. As Jonah Lear explains, we regulate our emotions by thinking about them. Our prefrontal cortexes allow us to think about our own minds. Our brains think about themselves, psychological things start happening. We know when we are angry because each feeling state must come with a degree of self-awareness, so we can figure out why we're feeling what we're feeling. Without the awareness, we wouldn't know we are afraid of the lion that's charging at us in the wild, so we wouldn't run to escape it. If we didn't run away, what would be the point of feeling scared in the first place? But more importantly, if feeling doesn't make sense, if the amygdala is responding to a lost frame, then it can be ignored. The prefrontal cortex can deliberately choose to ignore the emotional brain. That is, if it determines that there is no merit in ascribing meaning. What this means is that whatever problem you think you have in your life is not the problem. It's the fact that you see it as a problem rather than signal you refuse to respond to, or a product of over-ascribing meaning, extrapolitan, irrational thoughts that created irrational emotions that continue to go unchecked, and so on and so on and so on. It is in fact that you see the problem as a problem rather than a fallacy in your understanding, your focus, your perception, They are all being misled. The problem is not the problem. It is how you think about the problem. If you want to function, you have to learn how to think about your feelings, the difference between the kind of anxiety that paralyzes you and the kind of fear that accompanies anything brave and worthwhile is discerning, which takes practice. The difference between the kind of people who turn their obstacles into opportunities like I did in my book and the kind of people who are crushed beneath the weight of their uncertainty is knowledge and awareness. Being uncomfortable forces us to think of options that we wouldn't have had, to imagine before. It is why heartbreak is crucial to human growth. The obstacle that becomes the way, the wound through which Rumi claims that the light enters, the beautiful people Elizabeth Kubler-Ross says had to know the defeat and suffering struggle to know appreciation and sensitivity. The pain Kali Galan believes sears the most incredible characters' hearts. The suffering through which Fyodor Dostoevsky claims a large intelligence and deep heart can be born. The people see Jobel see as stars dying until they realize they are collapsing into supernovas to become more beautiful than ever before, my friends. Anyone can enjoy the positive things in their lives, but it only a few that can take the negative and find the positive, which I did in my book. Call me at 844-405-HELP. We can help each other take our lives back. Bottoms Up, Surrendering to God, Not to Booze is now available on Amazon and Kindle. May God bless each and every one of you. It is very hot out here. I'm going back inside, and may God watch over you during the upcoming week. Goodbye. 844-405-HELP. Take care. Bye-bye.